What's up, guys? This is Bunny and Bumblebee Talks. I'm Bumblebee.
And I'm Bunny. And our first topic for podcast 4 is, can you be friends with an ex?
Yes and no. My opinion has changed since we first talked about this, like, on our own.
Yeah. I feel like you could be cool with an ex, but the definition of a friend to me is somebody that you kind of check up on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you make sure they good. You know what I mean? Like, you ask them what's going on with their life as consistently as you can. Whereas, like, somebody you used to date that you might be cool with, that you could be in the same room, you might not be doing that so often, especially if you end up in another relationship.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really call them a friend. You could call them that you're like a cool associate you cool with for the most part, but like friend is kind of like
it's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's a stretch. Like we've talked about this before. Like, you know, I'm cool with a few exes. You're cool with a few exes. And you know, they check up on us once a year.
I mean, I guess if you want to call it checking up.
I might check up on you know, somebody every couple, you know, just hey, just checking to see if you're still alive.
I don't know if that'd be
for me. It's a little different because, you know, I'm friends with her brother still. Like, me and him still talk regularly. So I don't necessarily have to check up on her because I'll just say, how's the family? You know what I mean? And he'll be like, oh, and he'll give me a breakdown. Mom's doing this, dad's doing this, sister's doing this. And I don't really have to go and, you know, hit her up to be like, hey, how you doing? She'll hit me up. I think once, the last time she texted me was...
Yeah, but that's not really...
2 months ago. Yeah, like, we're not like talking in depth and just checking up on each other, see how we doing, and then keep it moving. And we go on about our lives. I think the common misconception where people say yes is that everybody feels like you have to be everybody's friend.
Well, I mean, I guess, but I also think that some people who become an ex to somebody, they misunderstand the meaning of if you are friends with them, if you can call them a friend. Because to me, for me to call you a friend, we would have to be trying to keep in touch as much as we possibly can as far as conversation, and our conversation can be like as if I'm talking to like an acquaintance.
Yeah.
Almost like, oh, hey, that's cool. That's what's up.
You know, friends with somebody you open up to, so.
Yeah, so like I feel like some people, they want that treatment to say that they have it, but they want it for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they want it to be able to say that, like, if they don't have anything going on in their life, that's the person they can hit up to get something going, as opposed to looking at it in the aspect of, you know, hey, I should just be checking up on you, and if we hang out, cool. If we don't, you know, you just keep pushing. Because they're not like the main priority in your life, because you're not talking to them enough for them to be a priority.
Exactly. And if you can genuinely be friends with an ex and no issues come about, then go for it. Nobody's telling you can't. But, you know, you also have to consider your future with other people. A lot of people are intimidated by that. So it's a lot of times it's in your better interest to, you know, if it ends a certain way and you guys have to get closure or whatever, you talk out and you guys can learn to be peaceful. That way, if you bump into each other or one day you're just like, I wonder how this person's doing, and talk to them in a year, let me see how they're doing. You know what I mean? You can have a light conversation, not something where you're getting too in depth with life, and then keep it moving with life. But
I mean, I don't know if the partner would get intimidated.
Some people do. Like, they're like.
But I wouldn't use the word intimidated, but I would say that it would make it hard for the person depending on where you stand with the ex, it would make it hard for the person to be able to move on to somebody else, especially if you give them too much time and energy. Even if you're claiming they're a friend, it could hinder you from being able to let someone else in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much, I don't think it's so much of being intimidated by the ex. It's more of, it's going to be hard for you to let that person in if, you're giving a lot of time and energy to an ex that you could be giving to somebody else. Because there's some people who, they're like, oh, I'm friends with my ex, but then once again, it's your ex. So why are they getting all this time and energy, and potentially a new person should be receiving that time and energy and you're not giving it to them?
Yeah.
Because I don't view it as intimidation. I mean, unless like you don't know how to draw the line. 'Cause some people don't know how to draw that line of, it's just an ex that I'm cool with. Because there's certain things that people do that indicate that it's more than just a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So people take it as the new person being intimidated by the ex, when in all actuality it's
They just don't want to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah, like you're not owning up to the fact that you're putting your foot down to say, hey, we're cool, but this is what it is.
Yeah, that's just pretty much it. And another thing is when you break up with someone, give yourself time away from them. I've been through it twice. You can't really be friends with an ex if you guys break up and a week later you guys are hanging out and you're talking. And I've been through it. It was a year it took me to get away from one ex, and it took me, like a month and a half, 2 months to, separate myself from another one. And like, we were trying to be friends, but those emotions are so fresh. Because even though you guys are broken up, you still care about each other, right? If it ends peacefully, like not, on some...
I mean, I feel like even if it doesn't end peacefully, you can still care about the person because the emotions are still there.
Yeah. And you just have to... But you have to separate yourself. And it took me a while, like me and my one ex, even up until, a month after, she was still telling me she loved me. And it was like, I can't be friends with someone who I care about in the way that I care about them, and they're still telling me they love me, and we're supposed to be moving our own separate ways. Can't do it. You end up hurting yourself in the long run. We both ended up, taking a step back from each other, living our lives, and then we came back to each other. But we were able to come back to each other as, "Hey, how you doing?" There's no that I love you. You know what I mean? There's no, oh, I'm dying to see you. I can't wait to hold you. You know what I mean? It was hey, how's everything been? How's school going? How's work going? Oh, you're dating again? Nice, congratulations. You know what I mean? You know stuff like that, like where you can actually talk to somebody and not feel like I'm in love with you. You know what I mean? Or all those old feelings come rushing back to you.
Or you could talk to them without worrying about them being jealous of something you're doing in your life that they may or may not be doing. Can you imagine if I was friends with...
Nah.
That would be so... I feel like that would be the complete opposite of that. Like... And the crazy part was, the friend thing was something that I brought up, where I was like, you could be friends or cool with an ex if you choose to. And like, he laughed it off, and then at the end of it all, he was like begging me to be friends with him. But like, how you expect me to be friends with you if you blowing up my phone every 5 minutes?
Yeah. Won't even let us have a peaceful date, bro.
Not even that, like just in general, like blowing up my phone like I owe you something, like I owe you an explanation of what I'm doing or what I'm not doing.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. People gotta learn. They gotta learn the difference. That's all it is. You just gotta...
I don't I don't think it was because he wanted to be friends. I think he just wanted
To be in the middle of all your shit.
well, no, just to have that control to be able to say like, even if I'm not like fully with her, I still have her.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
I think I told you something like that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just wants to know that he can hit you up and you still pick up the phone.
That's what one of my friends was saying. Like, that's all it is. Like, he just wants to be able to hear your voice because he's just not mentally there. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
That friendship wouldn't have worked now.
Hell nah.
Can you imagine?
What?
Can you imagine that?
I had a whole hood on him. Why you calling? It's 11 o'clock at night, my guy. You're trying to sleep.
I mean, he did threaten to call at or what was it, for me to hit him up at midnight or something like that?
Yeah,
He was gonna hit me up at midnight,
yeah,
like on some threat shit, and he never followed through.
Yeah, and then he said something along. That was the first night he came over here, and he was like, "Oh, you got till midnight to hit me up, or I'm done with you." And you was like, "Alright." And left your phone over off in the corner somewhere. And,
No, I never turned it off. I just had it on silent.
Yeah, put it off somewhere to side.
And yeah.
And 12 o'clock came around, nothing.
Yeah, what did he think that threat was gonna do though? Like, that's not gonna entice me to want to hit you.
It was a power move. It was a power move. It was him trying to.
Yeah, but was he done after that?
No, he wasn't. Clearly, like, if y'all only knew. If
Dear beloved. I can't. He forever took away that word.
Oh my gosh. All right. Anything else?
Nah, I think we're good on that one. I think we said our jokes on that one. Okay, so what makes a man a real father, and do you think they deserve a second chance after failing the first time?
Oof.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I think what makes a man like a real father is not the person that says like, "Oh, hey, I have a kid," and taking pictures here and there to promote their kid so people could see that they have a kid. I think it's like when you're around for like the little things, like, oh, they scraped their knee, or oh, they learned how to ride a bike, or oh, they hit puberty today, or oh, they got their first A in the class, or something, like the things that people don't think about that goes into being a parent. I think that is what constitutes someone kind of being a father and like stepping up, but people don't pay attention to those things, or people brush past things like that. Like, it's not as important.
Yeah. Yeah. And some guys, as far as the second chance thing goes, right, my father got pretty much a second chance because, he was in and out of my life, and, as an adult, I was able to forgive him for all that stuff, you know what I mean? And so I feel like if you can forgive someone who had the opportunity to be there and just wasn't there for a lot of it, you can forgive someone who necessarily didn't get the chance. Because there's a lot of guys who,
yeah, but that's different though. They just didn't get a chance to because the person prevented them to.
Yeah.
It's a little different
it's a little easier too when he's been, when he's been there. As far as, the guys who walk out and come back, I don't blame people who are like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, you see it all the time. Like an athlete, they get that call on draft night. I'm a lottery pick in NBA, and then all of a sudden their father's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you, my boy. I'm so proud of you." I don't blame him for being like, no, fuck you. Like, I did all of this on my own. I did this without you being there to teach me how to shoot basketball, without you being there to teach me how to throw a football, without you teaching me how to fight, how to talk to women, how to do this, how to do that. You wasn't there when I scraped my knees. You wasn't there, for the injuries, for the late nights that I was up working now, or the days that I was stuck at school doing work. You weren't there for that. So you missed out on your chance, and now you want a second chance. I don't blame them for saying no. But in the same token, some of them really, we're going to exclude the athlete thing. Some of them, really do feel terrible for the things that they did.
Yeah, but that's not your problem.
It's not your problem.
That's their problem. Because also, to add on to what you said, like, oh, forgiving them. Yeah, you could forgive the person, but it's also based on the effort that they make. Because you could forgive them for what they did and be trying to give them a chance. But at some point, something has to give. Because if they're not meeting up to their standards that they claim that they're going to do, at some point, how many times are you going to give them a chance before you say, all right, I can't do this anymore?
Exactly.
Like, you can't, because it's more than just forgiving them. It's also them showing you that they can not only be forgiven, but putting in that effort that they claim that they're going to put in. Because if they're not going to put in that effort, what are you really forgiving?
Exactly. Ain't forgiving shit.
No, but I mean, it's true, because it's like, yeah, I get it. You have to forgive it. You have to kind of put it in the past. You can't hold it over their head if you're willing to, like, have a conversation with them. But also, if they're not putting in their effort and you're trying to put in your effort, it's like, how long are you going to take before you say, all right, obviously they're not serious about.
Yeah, they're, and when we say, like, serious about being there, we're not talking about being a father, because
after a certain point,
you don't need that. You don't need that anymore. You need somebody that you can confide in, because that's what fathers become after their children, right? They become the person they confide in. They become someone for advice. Hey, look, like, I've never been through this situation. I need you to be a grandfather to to my children. That'll give you a hell of a chance to redeem yourself as a father figure. That's a hell of a chance right there. Show me you could do it for them what you couldn't do for me.
I mean, but that's also if you're willing to willing to be okay with them being around your kid too.
Yeah.
You also have to put that into consideration.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna give them this, I'm just saying this is what you need from your father after you've become an adult. You need those things. So when we say that, if we're going to give you that second chance, we're going to give you that chance to be in, if a child, we'll call it a child even though it's an adult, but if someone gives their parent, mother or father, a chance at being there for them after they're an adult, it's not about teaching me the ways of life and teaching me how to grow up. You're not raising me anymore. You're now my support system. You're my backup. I need you to be my backup.
I mean, I wouldn't say you need them to be your backup.
You don't need them to be, but this is your opportunity to show me that you can be.
I mean, I guess.
And you don't have to have that buddy-buddy relationship with them, that you would normally have with someone that raised you, But,
I mean, but you gotta have somebody that raised you and not be buddy-buddy with them, so it's like, that doesn't really mean anything.
No, but, some people always think, like, oh, that's my dad. Like, my brothers and their dad. Perfect example, like, inseparable, right? Inseparable. But then you can take situations like me and my dad. Like, we're not the inseparable pair that my brothers and their dad are.
Yeah, but that's also based on the decision he made. Like, yeah, you gave him a second chance, but like, this is what this is the thing that people forget. Like, yeah, you could give them a second chance, but like, how close? Like, what's confusing to me is like a lot of them expect you to have that close knit relationship that you would have had if they were around when you were a kid, no matter what the situation was. But they can't expect that because that's not realistic because they weren't around for you to give that to them. You could be cordial with them and you could have conversations with them and you could ask them for advice on certain things because they are older than you, but you're not going to be as close as they would have expected you to be because of that distance and because of that time apart and because they weren't there to, necessarily like raise you or whatever the case is.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I get asked all the time. They're like, so like, what is like my dad? For me, it was like the essential things. I never learned from him. Like I told you a couple weeks ago or last week. Like I got into baseball because of him, and
Well, no, you told me that before a couple weeks ago. Though.
Yeah, when we were throwing baseball around us.
Yeah,
but anyway. But like it's like I got into baseball because I saw that he was coaching my brother's team. He was really involved in my brother's baseball, and I was like, I'm in 4th grade. I'm like, I won't be that close to my dad. I'll play baseball. But then, like, he didn't show up to a game until the last game of the season. You know what I mean? So it was things like that where it kind of like it molded our relationship to how it is now as I'm an adult. And even then, like, I'm still bad with keeping in touch with him. He gets bad with keeping in touch with me. But I don't harbor those like my daddy doesn't love me feelings. You know what I mean? Like, and some people hold on to that forever. But like I learned that
I mean, I also think it depends too because like it depends on the situation. Because like everybody has a different situation. Because you could harbor on to they don't love me if they're not making any effort.
Yeah, and I know he does. My dad's always willing to help me now. We try to be every week, but we get busy. Like
you know what I mean? Or that could be just guilt to make up for the fact that
it could be, but someone wouldn't. I don't think he would dedicate the time that he does dedicate. Like he'll take time off of work if he needs to help me out for something. You know what I mean? And I don't think someone who just feels guilty.
Yeah, but you
do
don't.
That.
I mean, you don't know that.
You never know, but
you don't know that. He could be just trying to make up for lost time because I know a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's what it is though.
That's because you're soft, but
whatever.
Like, but that could very well be the case. You would never know because you're not in his head.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they do things and there may be good intent behind it, but they're just doing it because they feel guilty because they didn't do certain things. But they're not going to tell the person that they're doing it for that that's why they're doing it. They're going to make it seem like they're doing it because this is the reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like, he's never going to go up to you and be like, oh, I'm pretty sure he's doing it out of guilt. But he's never going to tell you that part of the reason why he does anything that he does as of now is because of guilt. That's all I'm saying. Now, is that the main focus as to why he's doing it? Probably not. But that could be a big factor into it.
I see what you mean. What?
Well, no. What? You looking at me, you weirdo? Violating me. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think we're good on it.
How do you know you're happy in your relationship?
When you think about it and you smile.
But that doesn't necessarily mean you're happy.
Smile.
But that doesn't necessarily mean you're happy in your relationship. That just means that you think about them.
That's why I know I'm happy.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily define happiness, though. That doesn't necessarily define happiness. That just means you think about the person. Because there's a lot of people who could think about somebody they're with, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're happy.
Yeah.
So give me a more concrete reason here. That's not a concrete reason.
I think happiness is in relationship standards. is peace. We have a pretty peaceful relationship ourselves. We have our moments, but
I don't know what moments you're talking about.
whatever. She know y'all. Don't let her fool you.
I don't know what moments.
It's peace. You know, you can sit down and talk about your differences instead of yelling and screaming at each other.
Yeah, but that's also damn, I went down the wrong pipe. But that's also based on the type of person that you are. Because I had to learn that the hard way. Because as much as people say they want to talk stuff out, you also have those people who just don't know how to talk stuff out. And they instantly just get mad. And as soon as you say something they don't agree with, it's a problem. So, like, some people just don't know how to communicate.
And that begets unhappiness. When you constantly are talking to someone, you have to learn, right? My very first big relationship taught me that you have to learn to
What that you soft? What that you soft?
No. Whatever.
It
taught me that you have to learn to listen and check your anger, you know, at the door. Especially when you're upset about something, you know, saying something slick, saying something smart, you know, being a smart ass about it, and then knowing that it's going to trigger your partner, it's not the way to go about it. You sit down and you're like, hey, look, this is what I've been thinking about. And you come straightforward, but you talk in a tone where, you know, kind of like how I'm talking right now, where, you know, this is my issue. Like, you know, unlike when, you know, you big cake and you put 13 strawberries instead of 12. Like, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
That's so...
It's stupid.
That's so dumb. That was like the dumbest example you could have came up with. You could have came up with something so better.
Okay. Here's an example. Right? You go to someone and you're like... You go to your partner and you're like, hey, look. I don't like that you said, you know, this to me the other day. I don't like the way you said it to me. And I'd like it if we don't talk to each other like that. Right? Instead of, well, this is how you talk to me, motherfucker, so this is how I'm going to talk to you, motherfucker. This is how we're going to move, right? That only starts an argument.
Yeah, but you know what? In my defense, I've tried that. And sometimes that don't work. And I'm just saying that from personal experience. I've literally tried that before. And that just does not work. Because, like, I've learned that some people just are going to do whatever it is they're going to do.
Yep.
Like, I literally went to the person and was just like, look, like, you don't need to talk to me like this. Like, this is mad disrespectful. Like, I know you wouldn't talk to your mother like this. I mean, I can't really say for his sister because he just be talking to his sister all types of ways. So she get disrespected by a dude. I'm not really surprised, but you know what I mean? And it was just like, it got to the point where it's like, why am I even saying anything? Because it was like, well, I'm trying to be respectful of how I'm coming to you about what you're saying. And all I get is some bullshit apology. And then the same thing is going to happen, maybe not in a week, but like maybe in a month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever the case is. And that's where I got into the mindset of, well, apology doesn't mean anything to me if you're going to keep doing the same thing. And then, you know, then I get hit with the, well, I don't need to apologize if I fuck up. All right, cool.
Yeah. First of all, you do.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like, an apology isn't going to mean anything. And like, for example, you fuck up. You alright over there?
Mm-hmm.
You fuck up, and then you're doing the same thing in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, what did that apology mean to me? That means you just said a sorry just to shut me up, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And we don't like that. We don't like that. So.
But a lot of people do.
But happiness.
I never even explained my side of happiness.
Oh, okay. What's happiness for you?
I think happiness is like when you can feel comfortable going to that person about like every little thing that you may not normally go to somebody for, because it's not like the typical thing that you go running to tell people. So you feel comfortable enough going to that person, and you feel secure enough where they're not gonna like necessarily judge you for what you say, and they're just gonna think about how you are as a person as far as how you were in a relationship with them, and not what you're telling them at the current time. Even if it's like good, bad, indifferent, whatever the case is, like they're just gonna be like, oh, that was your past, people mess up, and they're gonna find a way to understand how that mess up happened.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was like your fault, the other person's fault, or both people's fault. What happened?
No, I felt that. I thought it was.
Oh.
I thought it was something else.
Was there anything else you want to add to that?
In the comment section, give us your idea of what happiness is in a relationship. How if you're happy in your relationship, I'm happy in mine.
And please don't take happiness as like having good sex, because I know a lot of people take happiness as having sex on a regular basis in your relationship, and that doesn't necessarily mean happiness.
Yeah, you can have
sex all day, every day.
Yeah, and the person still treats you like trash. So
and I know that from experience. So many things wrong with that person. I feel so sorry for anybody that ever dates them. Don't be that person.
Don't be that guy.
Yep. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Because it could go either way.
It could. It really could.
It's unfortunate though.
Very.
So you want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get it.
Why some guys and chicks get into relationships when their expectations are too high.
You know what that reminds me of?
What, the
girl with the list?
Yeah, that was on Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
I was watching a Dr. Phil episode.
I remember when you told me about it.
Yeah, that's how I kind of came up with the topic, because this chick had like an unrealistic list of what she didn't want dudes to do as far as being with her. And I also know that it's not just a chick thing, guys do it too. They have this like unrealistic expectation of what the person is supposed to be like being with them, and then they don't realize that at the end of the day we're all human. And what people forget is, if you're going to be in a relationship, right, you have to understand that people are going to make mistakes. And if the person is willing to accept your mistakes, you have to accept their mistakes, especially if it's something that's fixable. And if you're not willing to accept that or take that into consideration when it comes to being with them, I don't think you should even consider trying to be with somebody. I think you need to figure out why your expectations are so high and why you feel like you deserve to have such high expectations when it comes to being with people. Because some people that have these high expectations, they don't even qualify for the expectations that they have when it comes to getting with somebody. They're like an average person that's not even like worth all that work and energy. And then they're sitting back trying to figure out, why am I still single? Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, and don't confuse standards with expectations. Because your standards are, you want a good person, someone who's caring and loving and, will remain faithful to you, right? Those are common standards. We're not saying don't have high standards for yourself, because your standards reflect on how it reflects your respect for yourself.
Yeah, but also you have to be realistic with your standards too, because some people have high standards and then...
Yeah, they're like, I only date 10s. Well, you're a 4, so you have to...
You know what I mean? Like, or you're... I mean, we both know Mr. Video Vixen over there. You know what I mean? Like, he's barely a 3, let alone a 4. Yeah. And he's over here talking about, I want to only date video vixens. All right. Because you're, notorious over there. All right.
Yeah. But,
But then again, that is part of his gamer tag.
Right.
He needs to sit his ass down. Biggie should sue. Wait, can Biggie still sue? Like, if you take his name, even though he's not, like, around?
I mean, notorious. It's not trademark. The word notorious isn't trademark.
Yeah, but technically that was associated to him.
Yeah, but it's not trademarked. If it's trademarked,
Yeah, I know, but how do we know it's not trademarked?
there's no TM after it.
Oh, that's how you know something's trademarked? Oh, see, look, I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
I figured because it was, like, somebody's name and he was who he was, why would you want to take that from him?
Yeah, but because his name is Notorious B.I.G. So Notorious B.I.G. is his name, is his brand. So,
like, if you took Notorious B.I.G.
yeah, and you were making profit from it, they could sue you.
Wait, but who would sue?
His family.
Touche.
His family or Bad Boy. I think Bad Boy still owns the rights to his name, so.
He's still not notorious, but either way.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, high expectations are things you should have expectations. I don't have super high expectations.
Everybody should have expectations, just like everybody should have standards. But you also have to be, like, realistic, where it's, like, drawing the line. Like, this chick was talking about she doesn't want to date a dude that wears sweatpants. Like, that's not realistic.
Yeah, that's not real. You literally eliminated every man in existence. Unless he has, like, a sweatpants allergy.
Well, no. Not even, like, a sweatpants allergy, unless he's, like, a dude that just never wears sweatpants. Like, all he
But
wears...
how often is that?
Like, unless he wears, like, just shorts or jeans.
Just shorts and jeans all day, every day?
Well, no, there are some dudes that just wear shorts in the summer. Throughout the whole entire summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just wear, like, pants or jeans when it's, like, winter. There are dudes out there that...
Yeah, you're right, but...
But, like, to narrow it down to that level,
yeah,
you're, like...
You know, out of 100 guys, there's probably, 6 that limit themselves to just shorts and pants and jeans.
Or joggers.
Or joggers. Joggers would be considered... Would she consider those sweatpants, though?
No, but they're not.
I mean, technically they're not, but, like...
They're fitted, though. They're different. Which, I want to add on the jogger thing. Like, if you're fat, like fat, joggers don't look right. And I mean, like, fat. Not that cute, like, cuddly fat. Where they kind of look... Where they kind of look like a teddy bear where you just want to hug them and pinch their cheeks. I'm talking about that fat where they look like a sack of potatoes. And then they got the joggers sagging, which just defeats the whole purpose of wearing joggers to begin with.
The image you just drilled into my head. Oh, my God. Oh.
Can you imagine what that looked like for me?
No.
Like, why you pulling up your joggers, bro, if you got your size? Are you that fat?
It's supposed to sit on your hips. Nice and comfortable.
No, but he was wearing them like sweats. But even with sweats, nobody wants to see your ass crack.
That's a fact.
Especially when your ass is, like, pushed into your body. Like, like you have no ass. Like,
Okay, moving on.
Oh, yo, bad image.
Oh my God.
Got a whole image of him coming out the shower, like, so horrible.
I can't with you.
Oh.
What we got next? I can't.
Why people can't be nicer.
Oh, that's the one the guy at your job gave us.
Yeah, it was a customer at my job. He, somehow, I forgot how the conversation... Actually, no, he saw me writing in my notebook. Because sometimes I come up with ideas, and me being me, if I don't write it down or whatever the case is, I'm gonna forget the idea. So I try to write it down as soon as I come up with the idea. And then he was like, oh, that's cool, you're doing a podcast. And then he was like, oh, why don't you do this idea? And then there was this other lady that was like going with it. And I was like, yeah, you know what, that could work. That's something to talk about.
So why can't people? be nicer.
And
I can tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because they're fucking assholes.
Well, the topic came up because we were talking about with everything going on with the virus, how, you would think people would want to be nicer because the virus is going on and because there's so many things you can do as a person before, where it was like we had freedom to just do whatever and there was no issues. You didn't have to wear a mask, you didn't have to do this, and you would think that it would just encourage people to want to be nicer, especially if they weren't a nicer person prior. But for some reason people are just like, either you have those people that just were naturally nice from the beginning and just kept it with them even with the virus, and then there's just some people who may have been nice before the virus and they just develop this unnecessary attitude for no reason because they have to be a little bit more patient or because they can't just go in a store right away and grab what they want. And it's like everybody's going through the same thing, whether you're somebody's grandparent, whether you're like in your 20s, whether you're like 30s, 40s, whatever the case is.
Everybody's at risk. Some may be at risk more than others, but everybody's
at
risk.
But like everybody's going through the same thing as far as following the rules of what's going on with the virus. Mm-hmm. So for you to have this unnecessary like attitude about it,
an entitlement,
like it's like, what is that solving for anybody?
And then it makes people like me, who are genuinely nice to people that I first meet.
Are you?
I am, believe it or not. It only takes like one sentence for me to be like, all right, I'm not, fuck off.
He was mean to me when he first met me.
Oh, was I? I don't know. We talked like all day when I first met you, so.
Did we?
Yeah.
No, but didn't we just like kind of was like, when we first met, it was just kind of like encounters of hi, bye, and then that was it. And
then we got stuck doing the same thing at work together.
And then we had like an in-depth conversation because of what we were doing.
Yeah. All day. Like literally the entire 10-hour shift. We even went to lunch together.
Well, yeah, that's because we were in the same spot. Mm-hmm. So we had to take lunch when they told us
we were literally we had the same tasks and everything on our scanners. It was weird. I'd never experienced something like that before.
Yeah, we just happened. Yeah, it was weird because we had to scan a certain spot and then we had to figure out what item was like damaged or whatever, and like put it down of like how many of them were damaged or whatever.
And we were literally getting the same exact bins together.
Yeah, we just happened to be next to each other, so it was like weird. It was like almost like we were kind of like meant to.
Yeah, everybody was looking at us like, what the fuck is going on with them two?
Were they?
Yeah. I can't remember his name right now. I think he's African or Haitian. And he was like, what's going on with that? I was like, what you mean? Like, we just had the same bins to scan. So we were talking. I was like, leave me alone.
I mean, but you also couldn't even talk to me the way you would have wanted to anyway.
Yeah, I was in a relationship. That's another thing I had to explain. Like, yo, I got a girl. Like, I don't do that type of thing. And they were like, yeah, whatever.
Which, also, I might add, like, you never would have got my phone number if it wasn't for me anyway.
That is true.
Because I don't think you would have asked if I never was like, hey, let's keep in touch.
No comment. Anyway, so back to topic. And she just called me out in front of everybody, in front of the whole internet. That's crazy.
They'd be alright. But yeah, I just feel like being nice is not that hard because when people get misconstrued with being nice, is they feel like that means you gotta have a conversation with everybody you meet and all of that, and like you could literally just be nice by just holding the door for somebody.
Yeah, holding the door for somebody, saying thank you,
or just being like good morning.
Good morning.
Like simple things like that, and I could be just being nice. And then that's it, and there doesn't have to be anything else behind it. Or you could be like, oh, any plans for the weekend, or how's your day been going? And then that's,
small things.
like...
It's the little things that make nice people dope. Like, it's not because of the fact that they're just nice. It's because, you can, when you see someone, you can say good morning. When somebody holds a door open for you, it's, just the common courtesy.
Yeah, I think people with the whole virus thing, I think they forgot common courtesy even more than what they forgot it before.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, like you can hold the door for somebody now and like you might get a thank you or you might not.
Yeah. I've had people like shoo me away when I was trying to hold the door with
Oh yeah, that's the new thing now. Like
no, go ahead.
Yeah, like
right.
Because of the virus, like you go be nice and hold the door for somebody and they're like,
all right, bro, I'm holding the door. You don't have to touch the door at all right now. I'm holding it open for you.
Like you don't even have to touch me.
But yeah, like you could just walk through. But they want me to walk away so the door can close. I've actually seen somebody.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
I've seen somebody when I walked out of the store and I held the door open for them. They were like, no, go ahead. Right? And I walk away from the door and I just kind of look back and they're trying to squeeze through the door before it closes. Bro, are you... why all this extra shit?
Or like I can see or I see people, they'll like somebody will be holding the door and they're like, no, it's all right, and then they end up having to touch the door because the door closes so fast that they still have to touch the door, which that's what they were trying to avoid to begin with. But then it's like, why not just accept someone holding the door for you? Because you don't have to touch somebody just because they hold the door for you.
Yeah, and everybody's got their masks on. You don't have to worry about somebody coughing in your face. It's
just weird.
Dumb shit.
Because it's not like you gotta hold their hand.
And then you got everybody like, you're not gonna take away our freedom by making us wear masks. Like, are you stupid? We're not telling you to wear it all day, every day. Like, unfortunately, there's some workers that have to wear it all day, every day. But we're saying when you go to the store.
Like, you just have to walk into the store wearing it, and then that's it. You don't have to walk down the street wearing it.
You don't have to sit in your car I literally saw... I don't remember where I was. Where was that yesterday? It was actually here in town. I saw a bunch of kids on bikes wearing masks.
Oh, yeah, I was with you.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I would pass out on my bike.
Yeah. Wow. It was hot too. Yeah, it was the day we were playing catch. It was hot as hell.
Yeah, we were going to the park and we were like looking like, what? Like we were mad confused because I'm like to myself like, that would be like me wearing a mask when we were playing catch. Like I would pass out in the process.
Yeah,
it's weird. But is there anything else we want to add on the being nicer thing?
Just be nicer. Love thy neighbor.
Yeah, just be nice to the people that are trying to be nice to you. And if someone happens to be rude, just...
Punch him in the face. I mean,
No, don't punch him in the face. But, just brush it over.
Brush it off, yeah.
And go about your day and don't let it ruin your day just because they wanted to be rude.
There's so much time in the day. Don't let someone's 5 seconds of fame in your life ruin your whole entire day, because that's all it is. If they're being an ass, let them be an ass. They can go fuck themselves. Quite frankly.
You know what I mean? And that's just them being bitter or whatever the case is. But I think we're done with that topic. Let's move on to trivia.
Is it trivia already? I was just rolling out to get it ready. That was the last topic?
Yeah.
All right. So we have 5 questions here. I've been really... Basketball is back. Right? So, this first question is sports related. And I wanted to know, to see if you knew, what was the longest game in sports history? Just the longest thing in sports history, the event.
But in any sport?
Yeah, any sport.
I have no idea.
If you know the answers, right, by the way, leave a comment. Don't cheat. I'll know if you edit your comment. But leave a comment with an answer and see if you get them right. So the record was set in tennis. Nicholas Mahut and John Isner had a match that lasted 11 hours. It took them 3 days to finish the game. That's crazy.
I believe it. I mean, it is tennis, so I believe it.
Yeah. The next question for you, question number 2 is, how much is 100 pounds of gold worth? This took a lot of fucking math. It took a lot of math.
100 pounds of gold?
Yeah.
What, like in dollar signs?
Yeah. It's a crazy amount.
I don't know, 500 million?
Okay, not that crazy.
Oh, you said a crazy amount, so I'm like...
It's a lot of money. It's $3 million. A little over $3 million.
I was about to go with 100, but then you said a crazy amount and you threw me off.
Oh. I mean, just $3 million for 100 pounds of gold. 100 pounds of gold, probably like this. You know what I mean? It's not huge.
Yeah, but you threw me off when you said a crazy amount, so I'm thinking like it's some big ass number.
What is a big ass number is this next question.
Okay.
How many languages exist? I believe this number is current spoken, not lost languages.
So Latin doesn't count?
I don't think Latin counts.
I mean, it's still a language.
Yeah.
It's actually the root of all languages.
It is.
So it should count.
Fun fact.
It should count, actually. 1 million?
You're really high. You're really high. Like, really, really high.
Like, in what range are we talking about?
It's in the thousands.
Okay, so I should have went with my first thought in the 1,000 range. Or 8. I don't know, 5,000?
You're close.
Okay, what is it?
6,500 or more.
Okay.
That's a lot of languages. Could you imagine? Like, some people learn 4 or 5, and like you're a couple thousand short from knowing all the languages in the world.
But knowing 4 or 5, that's
incredible. That's incredible. But then when you think about the grand scheme of it,
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, job-wise,
yeah, 4 or 5, you're guaranteed a job anywhere.
Yeah, you're set.
Yeah.
Even knowing just one language, you're set.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, well, one other language from your home language.
Yeah.
Yeah. That question. How old is Microsoft?
I think he was like 17, 18 when he got his first Porsche. It's like back in he was like I don't know. I think he was like because I remember watching something where he was like maybe 17, 18. He got his first Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
And that was around I don't know, in the 70s?
It was in the 70s.
I don't know the exact year.
No, okay. Microsoft is, as of April 4th, is 45 years old. It was born, Jesus Christ. It was started April 4th, 1975.
I was close.
You were really close.
No, because there was something I watched a long time ago where they was talking about how he started, where he was just this young kid that nobody expected that he would be where he was at. And he was like 17, 18 or so, and he got his first Porsche. And it was like the business was doing a lot better than people thought. And I just could not remember the exact year.
Mm-hmm. And it's the fact that Microsoft is younger than a lot of companies, and like significantly younger than a lot of companies, and is the tycoon that it is. It's crazy. There's a company that
but Microsoft is older than some companies too that are really big too.
Mm-hmm.
Because
But there's a company out there right now.
Because like
I'm gonna save it for a later date. It's the
Microsoft,
richest company in the world.
Because Microsoft is older than Amazon.
Yes.
And Amazon is like up there.
Yeah, Amazon is like.
But then
Amazon's not the richest company. You would think it is.
No. I never said it was the richest company, but Amazon is up there considering when Microsoft started. Microsoft is older than Amazon.
Yeah. But the last question is, when was the first computer built?
Mm.
I have a little article here that throws some numbers at us.
In the 80s?
Nah.
60s?
Nah. Not even close.
30s?
No.
30s?
It's the 30s, but not the 1930s.
Oh, I'm thinking about like the computer that like people could actually like.
It's the grandfather of computers.
It was the 30s.
Not the 1930s.
No, I'm not thinking the 1930s, but it was in the 30s. I just don't know the exact year. I just know it was like in the 30s.
Okay, so there's an argument, right? That
Just say the year.
the first. Well, let me get into it. The first computer they say was 1622, right? But that's the fucking thing with all the.
Yeah, but I don't think that one. I don't think that one counts.
No. The first computer resembling today's modern machines was the analytical engine, a device conceived and designed by British mathematician Charles Babbage between 1833 and 1871.
Yeah, but that wasn't a computer that everybody could use, though. Cause like when I think of the first computer, I'm thinking about like the first computer that like people could actually use. That was a computer that he built.
Yeah, it was a
But it was
machine. It was the blueprint for
But it wasn't.
computers.
But it wasn't like a computer that like. Because if you saw it right on the
Yeah, it was
Discovery,
big as fuck.
it wasn't. It wasn't like a computer like back when they first came out with computers that you could actually use and.
Yeah, before you can go and but this is before people can go and buy desktops and stuff like that. It was a lot. It was a lot. But it was huge, and
Yeah, I think I saw something like that on the Discover or something like that.
yeah, he got the funding for it in 1824.
All right.
That's crazy. Yeah,
So I think that's about it for this podcast.
it is.
Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
I'm seeing you guys are, viewing the podcast, but the subscribers is just not there. So
We would love it if you guys just hit the little button. It helps us out. Lets us know you like our content. Also, put notifications on so you can see when we drop content. Because pretty soon here, we'll be able to do more than podcasts eventually. And I'd like to get to show it off.
I mean, I think for right now we're probably gonna just stick with once a week. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, right now, once a week. We're
don't-
both busy as hell. So.
I don't think we could like fit more than that, and I think that's fine because think about how long it is. But I don't think there's anything else we want to add to that.
No, that's it. Let's have a great night. Great night. We love y'all. Bye.